Okay. Hey guys, we are live. Welcome everyone on Twitch, on D Live, and on my YouTube channel. I will soon be attempting to add Odyssey. I'm not a huge fan of Rumble. A lot of people seem to be really into Rumble, but I'm going to try add Odyssey. So that'll be what I intend to do next for the next venture to also have that as a platform. Anyway, tonight I have a beautiful guest, one of my friends here in Sydney, the other half of the 5'8 take. Beautiful, blonde. Hello, everyone coming in. Yes, so before we do that, I'm just going to read a Bible verse or two from the book of Psalms. This is a nice one to hear. Blessed are those whose way is blameless, who walk in the law of the Lord. Blessed are those who keep his testimonies, who seek him with their whole heart, who also do no wrong, but walk in his ways. Walk in his ways. You have commanded your precepts to be kept diligently. Oh, that my ways may... Oh, you guys keep typing. Hang on. Oh, that my ways may be steadfast in keeping your statutes. Then I shall not put to shame, having my eyes fixed on all your commandments. Okay, so we have the lovely Ebany, whom I like to call Yaman. Here she is, Ebany. And she's been a guest before, in case you guys forgot. Hello.
Hi. Yeah, very, very briefly guest, but yeah.
Yes, but now it's like proper official.
I know. This is so crazy for me because even though I helped Diogo with the 5'8 stuff, I'm actually a really private person compared to him. I talk to anyone, but in terms of me, I'm a very private person, whereas he's really outgoing and just puts everything out there. So yeah.
Yes, absolutely. No, that's okay. Well, we're not going to touch on anything you don't want us to touch on. And if I do accidentally touch on something, just say, oh, no, move right on. And then all done. Yeah. Well, first of all, how's your roller skating venture going?
Oh, it's been good. So I have the full ones.
Yeah.
Very well. Whereas when I was younger, I used to use blades. So trying to get the balance on them is really hard because the stuff.
So hard. I was bruised. I got really sore from it.
Oh, but yeah, it's been fun. It's been a nice way to pass the time.
It's good, isn't it? Yeah. I've done it a couple of times, but I can't get my balance. But that's okay. All right. So I thought it would be a good idea.
That was a lovely,
just
say. I said that was a lovely you just read.
Oh, thanks. Yeah. I can hear you. By the way, guys, I don't know if you can tell, but there's a lot of rain above me right now. But this is usually where I go live. So yeah, I have to deal with the rain, and my roof here is tin, so it's not super helpful. But that's all right.
We make it work.
We'll make it work. Yes, I'm trying to speak really loudly, and I think I've turned your volume up. Oh, here we go. I'm turning it up. Okay. I was gonna say to you, just this morning I saw that Queensland, they're literally, even outdoor events, they're saying that you're not allowed to do an outdoor event, which I don't even know how you mandate or monitor that. But and you're from London originally, and that's been pretty heavy with all of the mandates and stuff. I want to know what you think of Australia as an outsider and now as an insider, and do a contrast of the two countries. I thought that might be something interesting that we can do. Is that something you'd be happy to talk about?
Yeah. So it's strange because I've been here for 4 years.
Yeah.
I've been in Sydney the whole time. So, I came on we'll come on a working for a day visa, just see what it's like, spend a year here, go home. But that just never happens for anybody that's from the UK, because everybody just goes to the beaches and just, never wants to leave. So I got to really experience Sydney for 2.5 years, really, to see what the old Sydney, I guess, was like. And it's completely different to the UK. I mean, the culture is very laid back. I would say everybody's a lot more welcoming than the UK. And I mean, I just wanted to get away from the UK anyway, because it just wasn't the place for me. I didn't want to live there. It wasn't a place.
Really?
I mean, I miss my friends and family, but I knew it wasn't going to be the place that I'd settle down and have a family. So yeah, I had sort of like the rose-coloured glasses on when I first came, and everything was amazing. And yeah, it's really been tainted, I guess, that view over the last 18 months. And I mean, it's difficult for me to really put a contrast on the situation that we've got at the moment in the UK, because I haven't been there. I've heard it from like friends and family. But it seems like there's a lot of similarities. Now, I don't know whether this is all because it's sort of from a legal perspective or from Commonwealth or things like that. So they sort of have the same, I guess, what's the word? They have this sort of similar basis of legislation. So it's not too different, whereas I guess like the States is a little bit different. But yeah, I am just bewildered. And it's a little bit concerning as well, obviously, when you're not a resident, when you're not a citizen. There's that extra level of uncertainty. I mean, I know everybody's got it tough. But yeah, it's just, we were sort of given the ultimatum that if you leave, you're never coming back. Sort of, your visa's gone, that's it. So a lot of people have had to do the sacrifice. And I mean, for Australia especially, Australians couldn't even get into the country. So there's like no chance in hell of anyone else going. But yeah, there seems to be a lot of similarities happening now in terms of mandates. Like in the UK, I've got sisters that are in the healthcare industry, and now they've mandated the entire healthcare like they have here, whereas previously it was only certain sectors. So yeah, it's all very interesting and challenging, and yeah, I'm not too sure what the course is going to be for it. I really don't know. But there seems to be a lot of similarities coming to the light now, where it's kind of like come full circle, where they've all tried different approaches.
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Hello?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes. Is it delaying for you though?
A little bit,
yeah. It's probably the rain.
Yeah, I think it was meant to be a heavy storm all night, so we'll see. We'll try our best. But yeah, I mean, for all this sort of like backlash and the protests that were happening, I think the UK had a bigger amount of people being involved earlier on, and there seemed to be a lot of traction in terms of people not being happy with it, and voicing their opinions, and I think that sort of ignited a little bit of the fire in everywhere else in the world. Especially, I remember there was one in sort of like May, June time where there was like millions of people marching in London. So yeah, I mean, it seems like there's a common theme. And as much as
Go ahead.
as much as it's sort of like downplayed to a very small amount of people that are opposed to it, or just don't really trust everything that's being said, I think there's actually a larger number of people.
A larger number of people than we think.
Yeah.
What about your family specifically? Where are they in the opinion side of things? Are some of them along your line of thinking, or are most of them believing the mainstream? Hello? Wow,
Yeah, I
this is
mean,
going to be bad.
well,
Yeah,
am I back?
I think so. Go ahead. Did you hear my question? Did you understand it all? Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, for me, I'm just going to put it out there. This is a personal choice. And everybody has had things that have happened to them in their life that have shaped their decisions and shaped their outlook on life. And for me to say that my view is the best view, I can't say that to anybody because I can only go off my experiences. And that's sort of how I was raised. You know, me and my family, we've agreed on things, we've disagreed on things, and this is over a magnitude of things. But ultimately, you know, the individual is the one that bears the consequences of their actions. So yeah, like there's a mixed view, and I can't, you know, hold any anger or resentment towards them because they're my family, and the difference of opinion is not worth the damage of the relationship. And I think that's one thing that's I've really identified in the past, especially 6 months. There's such a wedge between the two sides, and it's just ever growing because, you know, there's all these people that have found all this information and they wanting to do the right thing and wanting to share the information, but it's not being delivered the right way, I guess. It's sort of being forced rather than a conversation. And then similarly on the other side, it's all, you know, you're getting insults and, oh, you're just a conspiracy theorist, you're just a lunatic, you've got a far right, like, and everybody.
I get that too.
Yeah, everybody's just so quick to put everybody in a box and make assumptions, and it's like we make an assumption about one person based off one thing they've said, one thing they've done. Like it's just baffling to me.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, like I said, I'm a private person, and I've shared things that I believe because I think everybody should stand in their truth, and everyone should say what they think. But I don't think forcing it, or, you know, I told you so, or, you know, we said this was going to happen 6 months ago. It's not creating an outcome. It's just creating a reaction.
I agree with you. And when I was living close to you guys, when I was living like a 10-minute drive away, I had an experience with a person that I was living with, and because I wasn't on the same consciousness as him and research as him, I would always have to be met with, oh my God, don't be stupid, how can you think that, and oh my God, what is wrong with Australians? And it was quite depleting. My energy, my everything that made me a happy person, I became, my energy, my happiness, it was slowly depleting. And I realized that maybe I had done that to my friends in the past or other people in the past, and his aggressiveness made me change. And I like the attitude that you've taken because, you know, I get where he was coming from. I want to take members of my family and shake them, and friends and even former friends. I want to shake them and be like, what the hell is wrong with you? What don't you see? Yeah. But sadly, they have to come to that on their own, whether that's with the unfortunate event of a seizure from an adverse reaction, or whether that's from a loved one or a death or a government mandate that just doesn't make sense to them. I can't do the shaking. And
ultimately we're all we're all coming from a place of love, and we're all coming from a place where we want to protect and we want to fight to the dead people that we love and just save humanity. And I think we're just so far apart from how to get there. And you have one belief and you're pulled into a category. You have another belief, you're pulled into a category, and there's just, I don't know whether it's just me, but so everybody assumes I'm white, blonde hair.
Say that again. Yes, I know. I wrote that in my post about you guys. Okay, guys, here's the big reveal. Sorry, keep going. She's not Aryan.
Everybody assumes that I'm white. My father is Jamaican. And
she's black, man. Yeah, man. Jamaica, yeah, we have a budget. Sorry, I'll let you speak.
Contrary, my mother's white, but contrary to my blonde hair and my green eyes, my father is dark-skinned. My sisters are a lot darker, and throughout my entire life,
and they're pretty from the photos. Whole families, good-looking kids.
I'm biased, but my sisters are very beautiful women, inside and out. So I've dealt with assumptions my entire life, so I guess that has also shaped my view of the world. Whereas
and also, your name is Ebany.
It means a kind of that, like, hello. That's kind of a sick thing in itself, because my mom was
like, "It's a mean trick." Yeah.
White. Let's call her Ebany.
Yeah.
Okay. For those that don't know, Ebony means the color black, and it's also the name of a wood, apparently.
And it's a great song. Ebony and ivory, living in perfect harmony. Anyway. She's frozen. Should I refresh it? I'm gonna refresh it. Wait. No, I can hear her. Okay. Hello. This rain is ruining our internet.
I hope my video will come back.
It's okay. It's not your fault. But so, what were you gonna say? So you're mixed. You're black and white. Your name is Ebany, despite being blonde hair and blue-eyed. So you've dealt with misconceptions your whole life. Continue.
Yeah. So I think that has obviously been something that shaped my worldly view, because I've never wanted to put the same assumptions and preconceived notions on people when I know nothing about them. And it's taken a lot of things for me to also toughen up to things. I was this like people pleaser that just wanted everyone to be like, oh, happy and friendly, and I know that's not ideal. It's just not. You're not going to be everyone's cup of tea, and that's it. That's my very English phrase for you.
Can I ask in terms of you being black and white? Sorry, you weren't finished with your thoughts, so finish your thought. Sorry.
No, carry on.
Oh, okay. All right. In terms of being black and white, in America, that's a huge conversation. Here in Australia, it's not much of a conversation, because we, at least in the first 20 years of my life, even 25 years of my life, we didn't really care about race. We were just like, hey, you C-U-N-T, and we treat everyone literally the same no matter what. But race is such a discussed topic these days, even here in Australia, but not usually. Is it a discussed topic? Is it like overboard discussed in the UK? Like, would you have to check a box? I remember for years hearing Americans talk about, I always check black and white, or I say that I'm biracial. Does that exist in England?
So I would say for my parents' generation more so. There was a lot of people that came from the Caribbeans.
Mm-hmm.
My parents, of like my grandparents and my parents' generation, I think something to do with the war. Don't quote me on that.
No, you're fine.
But yeah, I think it was something to do with Queen Elizabeth said, if you come and fight for us in the Second World War, that you can come to England after and stay.
So your dad came.
My grandfather.
Your grandfather. Okay.
Yeah. So for my generation, there's a very heavy racial generation.
Okay.
Like most of the people in my school were mixed. So it's
and you fell in love with a Brazilian.
I did. Which
How did you guys meet?
We met on Hinge, which is completely not me. So I hated dating. No, I did. I hated dating apps, and I was like, oh, like I'm bored. I just want to like go meet some people, just go out for dinner, blah blah blah. And then yeah, he was the first one that I met up with, and the rest is history.
Wow, there you go.
So don't write it off, guys. Don't write it off.
And now you guys are he has, but you guys, you're a team. Then Australia's most favorite podcast. Why not?
Yeah. It's definitely got us in some trouble in the past, but yeah, no, it's good, and it's his passion project, and you know, I can't really take credit for it. He does a lot of it. He's working like 24/7, and
is he just on the computer all the time?
Yeah, like he's literally, he goes from his phone to his laptop to his phone to, like, and I'm like, just take a break, just leave, like, and he's like, no, like I need to share this, I need to do this, and I'm like, you gotta live your life.
A little bit, yeah.
I've accepted that he's so passionate about it, and it's something that brings him happiness and joy. So I've just got to leave him to it. And I'm like, okay, like we have an allotted time that we spend together, and then the rest you do what you do. But yeah, it's taken me some hardships, especially with him being so public and having so many critics. And you know, being called so many different things. And I've now had to just accept that people are going to say what they want. I don't need to defend what's not true.
No, you don't. And for a long time, I was under that. I was like, but they're saying I'm this, and they're saying I'm that, and I have to defend myself. But honestly, the less you say, and the more people see you, whether it's you or Diogo or whatever. And I learned this, and even with you guys, I learned this. Like even the way you guys conducted yourselves, I was like, okay, these are good people. If you try to explain yourself, unless it's something that like you're something so extreme that has actually ruined your reputation and no one's, and it's like really bad. But if it's just, a little bad and no one takes the other people seriously and people can see your authenticity, then it shouldn't matter. Why explain yourself? Why should you say to everyone, oh, by the way, I'm Ebany and I'm actually not racist. My dad is black. I just, I'm really not racist. I'm not far right, I promise. You shouldn't have to do that. Because it's just laughable, like that you are that or that I am that. It's silly.
Yeah,
and you've got that, obviously.
And I think it's that thing again. Everybody's so quick to, identify or categorize. But we just gotta chill. Just gotta live life. You gotta stand in your truth. You gotta do what works for you. And share that truth. If people want to hear it, amazing. If they don't force it on them. They've got their own journey in this life to walk. They've got their own way to deal with things, and if they want help, they'll come to you for it.
Exactly right. And so, in terms of your family members, are any of them on the similar journey to you? Like, you don't have to name them or anything like that. We don't have to go public with it, but just are any of your sisters moving along the same thinking as you?
I would say some respects. I think I've lost you there. You still hear me? Yeah.
I can hear you.
Yeah. Okay.
It's the rain.
Okay. I'd say in some regard. I mean, as I say, my parents, they faced the adversities when they were growing up. My dad being a mixed guy at an all white school. The white kids didn't want him, the black kids didn't want him. He had to sort of forge a new path. He had to sort of forge a new culture. And his robustness and ability to face adversities is something he passed down to us. And my mom, if I could explain my mom, it would be that she has no filter. What she thinks in her mind just comes out her mouth.
Sounds a little like me.
it's a trait. It's a trait that I love, and also wish sometimes you didn't have it because it gets her into trouble. But you know where you stand with my mum.
Mm-hmm.
That she's kind of like a black and white chalk and like my parents are chalk and cheese because my dad's really reserved. He will analyze the situation, assess it, see how what the sort of potential outcomes are and what the impacts are to people. And then my mum she acts and then thinks later. So it's a real chalk and cheese dynamic, and I saw that growing up, and I'm so grateful that they're like that because it gave me such a balanced outlook of how to approach things and which approach is best in which situation. So, if you're in a highly emotional situation, I find for me that it's best that I take a step back, assess the situation, and then go from there. When it's, urgent, we need a quick answer now, otherwise any delays are going to be a problem. You act now, think later. So, yeah. But yeah, my sister, we're all sort of raised the same with the same values. So I would say we're all on a similar path.
Yeah, that's good.
I'll put it back to you like that.
No, that's completely fair. I wanted to ask you. I wanted to ask you about what you think is going to happen here. Do you think things are going to get way worse? Because they're already bad, but they can get worse, and they will be. We're being told that that whoever has chosen to not be jabbed will be free in society December 1st. Now it's December 15th. December 17th in Queensland, it's the whole country is cut off, essentially. Yet those people still have to keep paying their car registrations, their taxes, all that kind of stuff. I don't know what I'm going to do about continuing to pay rent, whether I have or haven't been jabbed is nobody's business, but I've certainly put in a form to the government that means no one's allowed to know. It's a third-party form. So what do you think? Do you think it's going to get worse before it gets better? Do you think, because we need to plummet further, I think, before it gets better? But
that's a difficult one for me to answer. For me, I don't currently feel like I'm missing out on anything.
You don't what, sorry?
I don't feel like I'm missing out on anything.
Good.
So I have, I'm not really somebody that, anymore. I'm not really somebody that wants to go to the pub. I don't drink anymore.
Not really me either.
Yeah, so after I don't know if I told you this, but I was in a car accident and it was a drunk driver.
I did not know that. How long ago was that? Here in this country or when you were younger?
Yeah. So that was in March this year.
Oh wow! Shit.
Yeah, so it was pretty full on, and that just sort of put me off drinking. And I only did it socially anyway, so yeah, I have no real desire to go to the pub.
What about going to, say, a shopping center with a girlfriend and buying a pretty dress so that you can go to a nice restaurant and wear that pretty dress?
Yeah, something
that basic.
I mean, restaurants, they're nice, but my life isn't going to be all the much better for it. And if there is a business out there that wants to accept whether I provide medical information to get access, then that's not really someone I want to give my money to anyway. So that's just how I see it. I'm not going to go and be like, how dare you? Do you know what I mean? I know people feel passionate about it, and I'm not saying that's wrong, but for me, that's not a beneficial approach. What fruit is that bringing me? It's not. It's just creating a reaction, and it's just validating their feelings that I'm a crazy person.
We'll just create our own events, Ebany. You and I will create our own events here in Sydney.
I love cooking. I love cooking, and
well, you haven't invited me over. How am I supposed to know how good you are?
Well, you will. You'll come over.
Okay, good.
I enjoy cooking at home, and I haven't been to the cinema in so long. I no longer desire to go to concerts. You can go to church, so that's fine by me. Yeah, there's not much of my life that's been impacted. The only thing I guess really is travel.
Yeah.
And because that's so up in the air, and that's not just like based on New South Wales or Sydney, that's internationally. So I don't know. I think for some people it's like it's a pressure cooker. It's going to get worse and worse, and it's going to, there's going to be more and more pressure. But with more and more pressure, there's going to be more and more emotions and more. And then everything is just becoming reactive, and it's at some point there's going to have to be a resolution. And,
the rubber band's going to go the other way, right?
Yeah, and I'm just very conscious of the gap between the two sides, that it's going to be very difficult to, like, everyone's going to have to live together. Like, it is what it is.
Like, but this isn't France. Australia is not France, and the two groups, boosted and unboosted, they're working together. Australia is falling for the governmental trick, and they're like, I'm allowed to do this, and you're that, and it's almost like there is a superiority complex, and the division that was implemented to divide the people is working.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, I definitely, at the start of it, I definitely fell victim to it, and I had to take a very big piece of humble pie because I could see it was damaging so many relationships that I had, and it was not worth it. Like, we have a difference of opinion. I'm going to do me, and I'll do consequences. I accept that you're going to do the same, and I have to accept that that's what it is. But it really doesn't matter what side you're on. What they're trying to do is to create the two control groups, I think, because it's easier to divide and conquer, no matter what the agenda. And yeah, I just, I don't want to be a doomsayer and say everything's going to get 10 times worse. You need to start prepping. You need to start doing.
It might not.
Sustainable, because with that becomes a very self-righteous point of view, and borderline egotistical. I'm just going to call it for what it is, and that's probably going to irritate a lot of people. But we need to ensure that we are doing it for the right reasons. We're sharing the information, we're educating people, we're sharing our opinions and our voices, not for a reaction, but to create an outcome. If we're not creating an outcome, we're just doing I'm doing this so I can, in 2 weeks' time, I can say I told you so. What's that going to do?
A lot of people are out there with that intention, and it's really frustrating. There are even people out there saying that if you get the boost, or whatever the word you want to call it, the juice or whatever, you're going straight to hell, because that's the mark of the beast. It's like, shut up. Like, when you get the mark of the beast, it'll be obvious. Everyone will know it is that.
Yeah, and I think, but even that, like, for me, I have only just come back to God and faith, so
I didn't bring it up because you told me.
Oh, no, that's fine.
You're choosing to say that, yeah.
Yeah, so for me, I don't feel well enough equipped to have that discussion with you now. I can obviously say the small amount that I know, but I'm not gonna, say you're wrong in what you're saying. Do you know what I mean?
Sure.
And I think that's, we've stopped having conversations. We've just started telling, and I think that's a societal thing as well, because we're so used to this instant gratification, and we're lazy. We don't want to cook, so we're going to get takeout. We don't want to do this job around the house, so we're going to get a handyman. Like, we're just so dependent on instantaneous, like, life, and it just, we've we've now not got the tolerance to have a conversation, to see an alternative point of view, to acknowledge that even though somebody may, to you, be wrong in their opinion, we still have to acknowledge that they've not had an experience that shapes that view, to see it for what it is, or to see it in this light. So yeah, and I mean it's hard. Like even with like some of the stuff Diogo does, like I'm constantly like, why are you sharing this? Like, and he's like, oh, get off my back, like blah blah blah. If you want to moderate the page, go for it. And I'm like, okay, like it's yours, and I'm just trying to get you to question like, what is your intention behind this? What are you looking for? Are you looking for outcome or reaction? At least start there and be honest with yourself about it, you know? So yeah, that's just my 2 cents, I guess.
I love your attitude because it's something that I'm slowly realizing that I've adopted, because I am less and less pushy about it. I still have my moments where I'm like, oh, that person's a moron. How can they think this sort of thing? But again, it's like what we said earlier. They're on their own journey and they'll figure it
And
out.
this isn't to be a hippie and be like, oh yeah, everything's light and love and we're all going to get on. Everybody has to accept things for what they are and what they can control. Like, no matter what I say or do, I can never change your perception of me because it's up to you to make that perception.
Yeah.
So
I do know what you mean.
I can, by all means, if I say something that influences that, amazing, but ultimately that's down to you, and vice versa. Like anything you say or do, it's up to me how I react to it.
No, that's exactly right. We have to learn that things like that, sadly, are not in our control. And these are lessons that we already know that. That's the thing, but we still don't apply it. We know to say that. That's a sentence we're aware of. Oh, nothing is in your control. But until you're frozen again. Oh, are you there? Yeah. Until you're living it, saying it, and and even knowing that when you're saying it, you understand it. You're not living it. I certainly don't live that all the time. Yeah, it is what it is. Do you plan? Go ahead.
And it takes a certain element of, you know, takes discernment for a start. But it also has a certain amount of awareness that you need to have. So.
Someone's asking a question to you. Is there some reason she spells her name that way? Did I spell it wrong? Ebany. You spelled it.
No. So the normal spelling is Ebony, but it's just, there's not really a real meaning to it. My mom just wanted to be different. That was all.
That's cool. Are all your sisters named after colours?
No, so we all have, I guess, unique names. Yeah. So
Fair enough. Don't name them if you don't want to.
Oh, good. But yeah, we all just have unique names.
All unique names. That's cool. Celebrities. All right, if anyone has questions, this is that time of the show where you can ask, and Ebany will answer your questions on being Jamaican, on living in Australia, on whatever it is you managed to hear tonight that you find interesting and you want to get more clarification on. As long as it's respectful, I'm sure Ebany's very happy to respond. Anyway, so you said a moment ago that you had come back to God. I'm only going to touch on this, but we don't need to focus on it. Do you enjoy reading the Bible?
Yeah, okay.
You actually enjoy it?
Yeah, I always enjoy learning new things and seeing different perspectives. And it's odd because I was raised in the Catholic faith, and
like me.
So tainted for me because not of just things that had happened around the world, but things locally. There was, priests in local churches that were just doing evil, demonic things. And Yeah, I'd say my faith has been a journey. I'll eventually do a testament one day, but
Yeah, that'll be great. And
yeah.
I'd love to be there. I'm actually really sad when I found out that you did something that's a big step, and
Yeah.
I wasn't thought to be invited as a fellow sister in Christ, but that's okay. No, just kidding.
Oh, to be honest, it happened
Apparently, it's
all
far,
very
far away
suddenly.
too. Oh,
Yeah,
really?
yeah, it happened very suddenly.
There you
Well,
go.
I guess it didn't. I've always been the person that's looked for faith and a higher truth.
Yeah.
But I guess just not in the right places.
Fair enough. And now you feel like you found it, and that's great. And we'll leave it there, and we won't delve any more into that. Ebony, would you prefer the UK or here in Australia?
Ooh. It's tricky because I do miss my family, but
Yeah.
I'm happier in Australia. And yeah, I've got a foundation here now, so it would be difficult for me to leave.
You'd probably
And
go home though to visit if you could, right?
yeah, even though it's raining, the weather's a lot better.
Yeah, exactly. It is raining. But you would go if you could, and restrictions were not an issue. Would you go home once a year for say a month, every year, so that
Yeah,
you had?
I mean,
Yeah.
fortunately, I went back in December 19, I think it was.
2019.
Yeah, yeah. So I
So it's
went
been
in.
2 years almost.
Yeah, so I went and spent 3 weeks back home and then came back. But yeah, I'd probably do at least a year to 18 months. I'd go.
You're saying that if you could, you'd go back for about 18 months.
No,
Sorry.
I'd go every year to 18 months.
Gotcha. Well, that
Yeah,
makes
so
sense.
maybe like. But I also have some family in Perth, and so does
that's right.
Diogo's family. So
Diogo. Yeah.
So I've got some kind of family established here.
What are they, cousins?
It's my uncle and aunt.
Oh, nice. And so are they? And Diogo's family, are they all there, or is some of them here?
So
Like mum, dad.
Yeah, his parents and
Okay.
siblings are in Perth, and then he's got some family obviously back in Brazil.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Okay, let me go. Oh, there you go. And by the way, we're both rocking our curls today.
No.
But I've never seen you with straight hair anyway, actually.
Yeah, I don't. It's not me.
I often straighten my.
Times, but I just
you just prefer your hair curly.
Yeah.
It's not a bad thing. Does most of your family have curly hair?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, there you go.
Yeah, and it's funny, when I was younger, I used to have this like big white curly afro. And I used to just look hilarious because I was even paler than I am now, and just a huge white like afro, hilarious. But yeah.
That's awesome. I do find it funny when I'm out and I'm like going for a walk or something and I see a girl with super blonde curly hair. I'm like, oh, I wonder if that's Ebany. And then I'm like, no, it's probably not her. Because like it's so uncommon to see blonde girls with the type of curls that you have. Like it's like one in every 50 or something.
Funnily enough, I actually see a lot of people, a lot of like girls in Australia that look like me from behind, and I'm like, what's going on?
I know, it's funny. You notice it more and more.
Oh, there we go. Got the rain banging on the tin roof again.
Yeah.
I honestly thought someone was trying to break it.
Yeah, no, it's really annoying because you're the first interview I've ever done in the rain. Because usually the rain dies down at night, and so I didn't actually think I'd have this problem. I assumed I'd be okay, but it's really loud. You can hear it, can't you? It's super loud, isn't it? Yeah, sorry everyone. I'm trying to talk louder than I normally would. I'm trying to enunciate and just be as clear as possible. But like, yeah. What are you in the living room? Like you have a curtain behind you.
Yeah, so I'm sat in Diogo's podcast area.
Lovely.
Because my laptop wouldn't work for some reason, so I'm using his.
Oh yeah. Fair enough.
And he's like,
That's
just sit in the chair, have the camera set up if you want. I was like, no, like that's not me. I'll leave the theatrics to you.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, well, let's go back to, we have about 12-ish minutes left, 15 minutes left. Let's go back to conversations about, do you find Australia to have lost its way regarding race? Because racially, Australia is considered by many to be a European, British colonized nation, and that, all of that. So do you think that the more immigration that we acquire in this country, the more we lose our original heritage? And I'm thinking about England and London, a tea and all that kind of stuff. Yet the more that, and without sounding racist, but I think what I'm saying is true, the more you bring in a large number, because I think a smaller number is okay, but the more you bring in a huge number of turbocharged immigration of people who are not, who don't assimilate, or who are not similar to those who made the country what it was, you risk losing the original heritage of the country. Do you see that? Or as someone who is a Londoner and who is mixed, because I'm mixed, I'm a first generation Australian, do you see what I'm saying? Because the fact that I'm an immigrant daughter and I see that is weird to people. Sorry, go ahead.
I mean, I see what you're saying, but for me, it was just another place that England colonized, and it's not like, not to be disrespectful to sort of the first generation, but there were people here before, and I think we're very quick to forget that. Like it's the Aboriginals' land, and it always will be, in my opinion.
That's okay. You're allowed to have that opinion. Yeah.
And the fact that, I mean, I can't really talk much on the topic because I haven't been to school here, but I would think that at least one of the languages, the Aboriginal tribal languages, would be a subject that you could learn here. But I'm informed that that's not the case in a lot of places. And I don't think that, I would never see Australia as a European country.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
European heritage country. I would always see it as a diverse, multicultural country.
Even though it didn't start off that way? It did start off that way in a minority sense, but now it's like very many Vietnamese, very many Chinese, and all that kind of stuff. It's like it's losing its original,
One thing I will say is I don't think it's appropriate that there's pockets of specific races and cultures, but I don't know whether that's a local government control thing or whether it's a personal choice. But there seems to be specific suburbs where there's not really much diversity in it, I guess.
I know what you're saying. Yeah.
There's also obviously challenges with language then.
Yeah, because they don't assimilate properly. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, but then I don't know. It's a tricky one for me because I'm mixed.
No,
so.
That's okay. That's why I asked, because you are mixed and you are from London, so you're from the originators as well.
Yeah, for me, it's whenever you. So I went traveling before I came here, and every country I went to, I'm always gonna. It's my job to fit in with them, not the other way around.
Absolutely.
So yeah, for me, I can't comment on it. Like if I came here and they said, you need to learn 6 different original languages to stay, I'd do it because it's sort of part and parcel of you coming to someone else's land, to someone else's.
By the way, I was just going to say the Aboriginals were not the first people on the land. It was the Pygmies, and then the Aboriginals.
Oh, see, I don't really know.
No, that's okay. The Pygmies are pretty much the same as an Aboriginal, only they're tinier. So they're a different ethnic grouping. Anyway, they were killed off by the Aboriginals, or they also were they also reproduced with the Aboriginals. So there's and so they were the originators. I just wanted you to know that. That's all. But all right, let's get to some questions in the audience. But yes, I don't disagree with you. There's nothing wrong with bringing back a language or learning one in school rather than learning Vietnamese, Chinese. Like, we learn all these languages that we don't really need. I mean, Mandarin makes sense, but what do you think about Boris Johnson?
Not a fan.
Not a fan. Fair enough.
And
a good question.
He's just, I find him just buffoon.
He's a fool. Is that what you just said?
Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, here's another question. At what point does Australia cease to be Australia when we have 30% foreigners? 40% foreigners?
I don't know. I don't think I can't really answer that question.
I will say
I don't know enough to establish to know what's established.
Sure, that's fair. I actually did
4 years. I can't, it's a difficult commentary for me.
No, that's okay. Are you a self-hating white girl? She's not. She doesn't hate either part of herself. I'm pretty sure she's proud of both. I don't think she alluded otherwise. Do you hate yourself?
No.
Yeah, I didn't think you did.
Yeah, I mean, and I wouldn't be offended by that comment either. I know that's a
thing.
Sort of victim mentality that comes for a lot of people. So yeah, it's not something I'm about.
Okay, I don't even know if you know about this. What do you think happened at the Travis Scott concert at Ebany?
I know Diogo shared a lot on this.
Something about demonic stuff. Yeah, I don't even know myself what into that.
For me, I don't want to give light and energy to demonic, dark things I disagree with, and not as like an ignorant, I'm going to brush it to the side, but I don't need to give it more power than it has already received. All I'll say is that it was demonic. There's a lot of symbolism and stuff that's happening in that industry, which I've noticed for a few years, and I've sort of stayed away from pop culture more and more. I used to be like a Cardi B WAP girl.
Okay.
Dancing and just, but with that mentality comes a lot of self-destruction and lack of self-confidence. And I don't know whether it's just an emotional maturity or because I've seen a lot of demonic stuff happening that's just verified for me that there's some evil shit going on.
Yeah, I have no idea about it, to be honest. I've seen people comment on it, and in my head, he's a dad. He's with Kylie Jenner. Like, not to say that dads can't be demonic. Of course they can, but I agree with your mentality on it. Just don't give it much light.
Yeah, I mean, Diogo knows the full extent of it. I haven't.
Yeah, I don't.
I've not tried to read into it too much. All I will say is that he had an opportunity to speak, I think, and he continued to perform, which again is a massive red flag for me.
Absolutely.
I'm not trying to give that a stage. But yeah, I know Diogo's been sharing a lot, so that's a question for him. Ask him in the chat.
Seems like it. Dia, are you wearing a school dress? No, this is a dress that I bought and it just arrived today, and it's from a dress company called something Pulp and Pup or something like that. And I really liked the dress, and so I bought it. You know, I've got to buy pretty things before I'm not allowed to get them. But, you know, online, it doesn't matter anyway. You can buy whatever you want. Let's have a look. Kickstart. Okay, none of the other questions make sense to me, so I'm not going to read those out. Apparently, Travis Scott made lots of money and idiots got killed. Oh, people died? Oh, see, I don't even know. Yeah, I don't know anything about this. Yeah. Well, there you go. I as you said, that whole industry. Anytime you see someone doing that image, apparently that means that they're subconsciously, or whatever the term is, subtly or subliminally supporting the Illuminati.
But even that, just like the things that they're saying,
know how much that's true.
Just the lyrics of the music themselves, like they're always about clout chasing, getting money,
the DJ,
derogatory comments,
video holes,
or they're like seriously depressed souls that are bearing their like burdens and like their absolute heart into these songs. And I get it, like music's an expressive thing, but you listen to enough of that depressing music, you become depressed yourself.
Yeah.
And people are battling like mental demons, and they're releasing this music as an outlet, and like all foreign to it. But yeah, like you listen to enough of it, and it just you start to emulate it.
You do. That's why when I was a kid and Britney Spears came out and said that she wanted to wait until she was married to be a virgin, and you had Jessica Simpson, and you had sort of this whole onslaught of like good girls, at least for the time that they were, you felt validated because mainstream media is so much. But if my parents had been a little stronger with us and had sort of been stricter with us and said no TV, stay away, play outside, play with your sister, play with your cousins, whatever, I probably wouldn't have put so much emphasis on a celebrity and seeing my morals being emulated on camera or emulated in any way, even on shows like Full House and Family Matters with Steve Urkel. Like they spoke about, chastity and waiting and that kind of thing. You rely on TV shows to say that kind of thing, whereas that's not even a thing now. There's no TV show that would ever say, stay a virgin or at least wait until you're ready. And so I think the best thing to do in the future generation for those of us who God willing have children and raise them is to, filter the shows, like make them watch the Brady Bunch or something that you watched as a kid, something that has good family morals, and make them only watch TV for an hour a day and then read and play with your brother and sister and go hiking, let's go bike riding or whatever it is.
I mean,
you're right.
I completely respect that view, but for me, I don't think that wouldn't be the approach that I take, because
what would you do? Tell me.
I think that can shelter children as well, and I'm not saying expose them to it.
Sure.
I think trying to filter too much, like they're going to come across it at some point in their life. Definitely when they're different ages and they're impressionable and young and naive. Yeah, absolutely. You need to do that. But I mean, I was a very rebellious teenager. I didn't listen to my parents, and I found ways to do what I wanted and get away with it. And the more they tried to, sort of, they'd ground me, or they'd say, I can't do this, I would figure out a way to like work around it. So again, that shaped my view. So I wouldn't be as harsh, I guess, and limiting. But I think if you instill values enough, and again, if you show them there's enjoyment to do this, show them there's fun doing this. Like one of my sisters, she takes her boys out. She's got 2 young boys, and they go and do activities all the time. I think they are allowed an hour a week of their PlayStation 4, and that's it. And they love it, and they're so grateful to my sister. But then I've got a cousin, and I've seen how she parents her kids, and they're not allowed to do this, and they're not allowed to do this, and they
Can you guys hear her? Hello?
Did you lose me?
I did.
Am I back?
What did you say? So yes, I think you're back. Yeah, you're back. Your brother, your nephews are very happy with your sister because why?
So she takes them to do activities and like she has fun with them, and she doesn't force them to not do things. She gives them an alternative option that they're going to enjoy. Whereas I've seen if you just cut someone off cold turkey of anything, and this is adults as well, if you cut someone off cold turkey, they're going to be like, oh, I can't do it. And they're just going to push harder to do it. Whereas if you're like, okay, well, we can't do this, but this is something we could do, or this, and this, do you know what I mean? So I think that would be my approach.
Yeah, that's cool. No, I like that. And you're right. Eventually you need to socialize your children, and whether you homeschool them or you end up, they're going to do activities, whatever it is, whether they do gymnastic classes or whatever it is, like, yeah, so they are going to come across that stuff. So it's good to introduce them to that stuff. But I think it has to be done bit by bit, not just, boom.
Yeah, sure. And as I say, like,
Yeah.
obviously there's different things that are appropriate. And I mean, I don't like laziness anyway. I like to, and it comes back to that instant gratification again. I love to do things and get satisfaction of completing something. So like I love
That's a good
cooking
thing.
and tasting it. Like I really like making things. I've been making candles, and I want to get a sewing machine and start like doing like making clothes. Even if I don't wear them that often, like I just want to get the satisfaction of doing something. And I think
That's
we're missing
good.
that. I think we're
We
really missing
do. It's what you said earlier in the stream, that we've become lazy because we want instantness.
that. Yeah.
And like, who knows? Maybe I could have attempted to make this if I had like bought the thing, and I could have maybe attempted to make this. It's just a sack of a dress. It's not like a specially form-fitting dress. Like, and we have lost a lot of that. That's why I think there are certain schools that are really good. I think they're called Steiner schools or something like that, where you learn to sew, you learn to change a tire, you learn life things, and then you can learn
We
that
also
as being homeschooled as well. I've lost you again. Hang on. Oh yeah, go ahead. I can see you now.
Yeah, it also teaches you how to deal with failure and not getting it right the first time and accepting that.
I think that's true, because when we
So
fail,
like,
at least go ahead.
Yeah, so for me, I feel like the mainstream schooling system, it teaches us how to recite.
Mm-hmm.
So I wasn't that intelligent at school.
But you are smart. That's the thing.
Well, thanks.
True.
I
can't judge your cooking yet because I've never been invited over.
You'll experience it one day. Yeah, I wasn't like top of the class. I just didn't get things. I didn't get it, and I always wanted to find another way to it. I always wanted to explore the alternate route, I guess. Even if it was going to fail, just so I knew that it was going to fail, instead of saying, okay, this is the only one.
The mainstream school system teaches us how to comply, teaches us how to be a good worker, teaches us obedience. It doesn't actually teach us, first of all, our anatomy. It doesn't teach us like about pregnancies and stuff like that. It only teaches us how about safe sex. It doesn't teach us how to be successful in business. It teaches us how to be a good employee. It doesn't teach us how to about the Australian Constitution and where we've come from. It teaches us the diluted version of law. So we're not really taught what we're supposed to be taught. Whereas if we all homeschooled our kids with the information that we are supposed to have, like on the Constitution and all that, we'd have a much better equipped society for what's to come. Yeah. But anyway, that's I think where we'll leave it. I hope everyone enjoyed having Ebany on. We didn't do a live last week, Ebany was not well, but I actually didn't feel too well either. So I just decided not to bring in a stand-in, and I just decided to just not do a live either. So that was...
I've been talking to you like this.
Yeah, well, we could have done it just voices, I suppose, but like that's not my traditional style. So yeah. But anyway, I hope you had fun.
Well, thanks for having me on. It's been nice.
Oh, anytime.
I doubt I'll be doing many other podcasts. Like I say, I'm a person that keeps my cards very close to my chest.
Well, the last time I was at your house, you were part of the podcast. You commented in the background. You were on the microphone.
Yeah, but I'm not aligned up. It's not bad. So I get credit for it.
No, fair enough. I understand that. But if anyone wants to follow you, I've added your Instagram and obviously the main podcast channel for Telegram. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope everyone had a good day. I think a lot of people are watching other live streams at the moment, but that's okay. This will stay recorded, so please guys come back and watch it again, because Ebany's awesome, and I certainly learned a bit today. Did you have fun, Ebany?
I did. Other than the rain and something, but
it's what it is. It's annoying. All right, cool. Well, guys, I'm going to end the broadcast, and please tune in next week. I have a pretty good guest, but I don't know if he's going to be hostile. He might end up being a little bit hostile towards me, but I'm not sure. He's an American, and he's waking up at 4 a.m., which is our 8 p.m., to do the interview. But I think he's a lefty. I know he's a lefty, and he's very much Black people are the victims, and he hates people like Candace Owens. So it's going to be an interesting discussion. But anyway, that's next week, unless he bails in the meantime. But anyway, thank you, Ebany, for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Yay! End broadcast.